Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny with an update for you, and I'm reading today from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7. I'm going to read it twice with two different words substituted. So the first one, but seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. In other translations, it goes like this: but seek the shalom of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its shalom you will find your shalom. This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. When you find yourself in a place you don't want to be, in a place that you have come to against your will, and I mean that not just physically, because probably many of us haven't actually experienced that physically. Some of us have, but not all of us. But I also mean that spiritually. I mean it relationally. I mean it emotionally, where we have been kind of put in a situation or find that the circumstances of our lives are not what we intended, are not what we set out to make happen. Our things are crumbling around us, and we did not get here because of our choice. What do you do? What is your response to that experience, to that reality for you? Is it to pray for the circumstances, for the people who brought you to this place, to the people who have had a hand in making the situation that you don't want to be in, the situation that you're in? I find this such an extraordinary set of instructions. We're going to dive into this, of course, more on Sunday, because there's more to it than just pray, but this to me is the most beautiful, radical, loyally subversive thing that that they could possibly do. And it's wise, right? It's wise in so many levels, and it's hard. It's very hard to pray for your enemies, to pray for those who have wronged you or betrayed you or done things that have made life not the way you would have designed it to be. And so I just wonder, what is it that you do in situations like this? How do you find peace? Or is that even a consideration for you to think about how you're finding peace in such a situation? Some of us are just in fight mode, right? Or flight mode in those circumstances. And peace isn't quite the first thing that we think about. So I encourage you to think, how do you respond? And then eventually, once you're out of that fight or flight mode and realize you're in the situation you're in, for now, for a while, how do you start to find peace, to search for peace, to search for wholeness, to create it, or hope that it comes your way? How does that work for you? I encourage, as always, for you just to notice and not judge, not to critique or to think that you should do something differently, but just to let it be and to see what you discover as you let yourself explore the questions. I do encourage you to read the rest of the first part of Jeremiah 29. We're going to look at most of the first 14 verses. We're going to skip verses 2 and 3, but verses 1 through 14, where there are other descriptions of what to do, what Jeremiah is encouraging the exiles to do. Maybe they ring true for you as well. I also invite you, if you do read those other ones, what does it remind you of? What do these instructions, I'll give you a hint, they're about, or give you a preview, they're about planting gardens and creating families, marrying, settling in. And I wonder if what that stirs up for you and how it connects to other stories and things like that you've heard in Scripture too. So, we're continuing in our Emerging from Exile Toward Home series, and this is one of the iconic, prime passages in Scripture around exilic living, around that exilic time. And so we're going to dive a little more in on Sunday. We're going to talk about surviving in exile and recalibrating to let us do just that. So friends, I wanted to also mention a couple of things. We had a fall gathering this past Sunday that had Kingston. Some Kingston folks came. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Kingston in a moment. But we also have a newcomers group starting this Sunday, and I know that probably there are fewer newcomers watching this, but hello if you're there, and more people who have been with us a long time. But some of you may know somebody who would love to connect more deeply with our congregation, or maybe you've met them online on virtual worship, or maybe you've run across them in person as well. And I just encourage you to reach out to someone, and maybe even somebody who's not yet worshiped with us, who might be interested in connecting with a faith family like the one you have found. So I wanted to share a little bit more about Kingston. If you remember, we are trying to answer little parts of questions little by little each week as we go along about the partnership that is emerging with Kingston. And what I thought I could talk about today is kind of the more, less the technical part, but more the relational part of our partnership. So there are some things that we would, opportunities that we will take to have some joint things together. I talked a little bit about this last week, but more from a technical place. But there are things like our fall gathering this past Sunday that are opportunities for us to gather together as congregations, as churches, to do this. There will be other opportunities in terms of small groups, and it's possible that there are times on special occasions that we could have some joint worship services together. Sunday to Sunday, that's not going to be the case, but if we think about like a sunrise service on Easter Sunday, for example, that could be a time that we would come together potentially. And our Charge Conference that's coming up in October is a joint time. That's more businessy, but that's another time where you're going to encounter people from the Kingston campus. But there are opportunities, and we would love for you to get to know some of our brothers, sisters, siblings from Kingston. That's always a good thing. But it's also a good thing in the sense of that is that it's good to know our neighbors, right? It's good to know our extended family. We are not merging together to become one congregation. We're still going to be two congregations, even though we are structurally kind of becoming one set of congregations all at the same time. So in that spirit, there are also invitations for you to check things out at our respective churches. So, feel free to go and visit Skitch and those folks that are over there at the other campus on Sunday morning. This is also important to know, they're still all virtual right now. The plan is that they'll be opening up in October for in-person worship. They'll still do a hybrid version like us. They do worship differently. They worship virtually through Zoom instead of the live stream way that we do it. Part of what we believe and what we want to reinforce or to keep reminding us is that we're not in competition with each other. We're not two United Methodist churches that are kind of struggling for members or figuring out who's going to win somebody over. We are partners in this, and so it's good for us to kind of come and go and see how each other is. What it's like in a different space and a different way. So I just wanted to kind of mention that and know that too, that we have those postcards that you've seen out. You probably got one in your mail that say, we're here for you in both places, meaning that we really want you to find the way and the rhythm and the schedule and the tone and all the things that fit best for you. And if that means shifting around or trying something out or kind of exploring, meeting new people, that's all good. It's all good. So Anyway, I hope that sheds just a tiny bit more light. We're going to keep talking and answering some more questions as we go along, but that is it for today. Friends, know that you are enough because God is enough. You are loved, you are beloved, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.